this thing. Yeah. Let me make sure I can see myself on the...
Let me zoom in a little bit to bring myself a little closer.
Let's see. It should be live. Oh, yes, it's live. And embarrassing. Hi. This is embarrassing for us, but you know what? We have to start a show. So,
Oops.
We have to start a show, and we have to do it right. Okay, here we go. Now, when I point at you... Hey, wait, no. That way. No, go that way. This is confusing.
You got the reversing going on?
Just when I point at me, you do your... BGRT Gaming Podcast, episode November 22nd, 2024.
Hello, and welcome to the 700.
No! Stop! Oh. Let's do this over again.
Okay.
We'll do this over again.
I misunderstood the instructions.
When I point to me.
Right. I'm just going to use the cadence.
Delete it. And the thing is, I have to figure out how to stop this. That's what the problem is. See, one of the things I don't like is that there's no way to reset. I know you have to stop it, and then it'll do it, but I forgot how you stop it.
Mm.
Oh, look, there's a... No, I don't need any of this crap. No, stop that. Down. There we go. Close video clips. We don't have any video clips. Oh, there it is. I figured it out. Oh, no, that's just the volume. Oh, fuck it. Okay. That's wrong. Go ahead.
What, me?
Yes,
No?
you. Yes.
Hello, and welcome to the 738th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and the 571st episode of Video Game Roundtable. I'm TJ Dunzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Right, so there's been stuff going on. More stuff that I don't even know about. Okay, there we go. Get rid of that. There has to be an easier way to do this. I mean, there is an intro, but the thing is that we actually have to say what day it is we're recording this on.
Yeah.
Because this is not just a video podcast. This is an actual thing. Oh, let me get rid of this because I found out that I cannot have this brand up here and be able to check. There it is. The comments. Oh, good night, Jonah. Hello, Zeus. Boom. See, I typed it in. So now they know I was listening to them.
Yo.
Minutes ago, yeah. So we have at least one listener. Viewer, I don't know. Anyways, really busy day with the with stuff going on. But first, before we talk about that, let's talk about what we've been playing. Scott, have you been playing Dragon Quest 3? Was it 3 HD?
Yeah, the HD remake. I've been playing it.
Wait, which one is it? Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age? It's Dragon Age 2, right?
It's Dragon Quest 3 HD remake.
Okay. I thought it was 3D. I thought it was a 3D 2D remake.
It's 2D HD 2D, but it has a that's the thing about this is they've been evolving their HD 2D graphics and how they make the games, and it feels like they've gone another step with the 3D like graphics where they have it like you're this little 2D sprite walking around in a 3D created world. And
actually, what threw me is it's called Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. So in my brain, it's like Dragon Quest 3D 2D.
Oh, okay. So you're making a joke.
Yeah, that's what. No, it wasn't a joke. It's just like it's something. It's started. We actually have some news about it in the podcast. Though, so we're gonna be talking about it further. How far have you gotten in it?
I haven't gotten my ship yet, but I've gone into the pyramid and I fought a little demon guy in there, and I freed a town from a sleep spell. So I've made a decent way into the game, and I've been enjoying it. I haven't changed my classes yet because I haven't found that either, but I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's fun, and apparently the characters, the NPCs you make, did actually have a line if you do the puff scene, the characters, your NPC little group apparently doesn't like that, and they're like, "Oh, you do whatever you want, whatever." But it's funny that they actually had lines, you know.
Okay. TJ, what have you been playing?
Stalker 2, and more Stalker 2. I was on the review for that game, and no, actually, I wasn't on the review. I was helping with the review and guides. But
We have news about Stalker 2 as well. It's brief
Yeah.
news, but-
that's an interesting game.
Wait,
And
you never played Stalker before?
I never played the first one. No.
Actually, there's 3 of them. There's 3 of them. They were all Stalker 1, but they had different subtitles. One was the Call of Pripyat, and then 2 others. Basically, it's how can I describe this? It's like playing Monster Hunter with a first-person shooter.
For me, Stalker 2 feels like Ukrainian Fallout with elements of DayZ survival, and
I don't know if it's like Fallout because it's not exactly an RPG. The thing is, for those who don't know, you're walking around and you're basically a hunter in the area around Chernobyl. And there's a lot of mutated things and ghost-like creatures that come out of the floor and all that stuff. It is very, very hardcore. This is a game in which it's not like a shooter in which you go and pew pew. No, this is more like you got to be careful.
you didn't even mention. Did you mention the anomalies? I don't think you mentioned the anomalies.
That's what I meant. The ghost-like things come from the anomalies.
Yeah, this world is chock full of like elemental things. Like you'll be walking along and you'll see like sparks on the ground, and if you get too close, it'll like blow up and like a flash of electricity, like a landmine. Or you'll have like one where you'll see leaves swirling around, and if you get too close, it'll lift you up into the air and throw you into the sky, and you'll probably die when you hit the ground. And it's just not only that, but like
It's brutal.
it's a
brutal
vast game, and there are so many things that work that it's Bethesda buggy, I would say. However, I will say also, if anyone has a reason to put out a game that's buggy, it's probably the guys that have been dealing with a war in their country for the last.
Yeah,
few
I mean,
years.
they've been working on this for like 5 or 6 years, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
It's one of Microsoft's big tentpole Game Pass releases.
Yeah,
They promoted the hell out of that game.
and I gotta say,
A lot of people, it's been like Silk Song for a lot of people. It's like, when is Stalker 2 coming out? When is Stalker 2 coming out? When is Stalker 2 coming out? When is Stalker 2
Yeah.
coming out? A lot of people are very impatient for this game.
And I gotta say, like, even with the bugs, like, this game's addictive. Every time I go out to explore in Stalker 2, like every time I go out into the world and go find something or do a mission, it's really cool. The stuff that you find, the combat, the gunplay is like really tight and really well done. Like it feels like a proper, like, high grade first person shooter. Like, I think that's the other one I was thinking of. I was thinking of Arma. It reminds me a little bit of Arma.
How about Tarkov?
Yeah, and like that a little bit. And it's competent, like at a lot of that stuff. The stuff where it gets like weird is when like you'll have NPCs with bad behavior, like standing in doors, or if you like you shoot a guy and he hits the ground and it collides weird with the terrain, then you'll like cyclone up into the air, or you might get like thrown up into the air for no good reason. It's just there are little things that make it odd, but I haven't run into too many bugs that are like game breaking for me or like ruin the experience.
Right. By the way, you can also see me on Blue Sky with this video too. So it's on YouTube and it's on Blue Sky. Okay, games I've been playing. First, I've been playing a lot of games and not really having. I gave up on Outlaw.
Yeah,
it was just it. See, here's the thing. A lot of people are complaining about the forced stealth missions. I just didn't like the navigation in the game. You know, I always felt like the game and I were not eye to eye on where I should be going and stuff, and I just got tired of it. And then what? Then I played Dead Rising Remastered.
What do you
It
think?
reminded me why I wasn't really a big fan of it the first time I played it. Although I will say that I enjoyed it a little bit more this time. I didn't use it, but they actually have an easy mode now. Using the gun is easier, and I actually got past the first few bosses in this. The problem I have is that, like any BioWare game, this is not a BioWare game, I know, this is a Capcom game, but they need to learn how to signpost where you're supposed to go, right? Because I got tired of trying to find the security office. And it's like, I don't want to deal with this now.
Yeah, now that you mention it, the first time you try to get back to the security office is a little bit misdirecting because the door that you use to get in there at first
is shut, yes.
But it remains on the map as a marker as to where you should go.
And I have these two jagoffs who are following me, and it's like, I'd like to drop you off at the security office, but I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I sent it back. This is a sort of game in which I will probably replay it when it's on sale, the inevitable sale. The graphics haven't changed that much. Remastered just means there's a lot less. It's a lot less jaggies. It still has the janky graphics of the original game, which is fine. And of course, we have to deal with all the memes. You know, I've covered wars, and stuff like that.
What do you think of Frank's new voice?
It's jarring.
Jarring?
I prefer the old voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I much prefer the old voice. The old voice sounded dorkier.
Whoever was doing it did a reasonable job, in my opinion. Like, I've always
seen the I covered wars line well. I mean, you can say that. You probably practiced that over and over. You probably was watching video of the original game and just kept on mimicking it, because if there was one line he wanted to get right, that was the line he wanted to get right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like Frank West has sort of a John DiMaggio character quality to him, though. And I think that the new guy did a good job of capturing that.
It still sounded off.
Yeah. Brad was pretty good, too. I like Brad a lot. They actually fleshed out Brad's full story just a little bit in this one and actually gave him, well, if you know how the game goes, they gave him a proper ending, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. For those who don't know, Dead Rising gives you two options: either continue with the game after you die or previous checkpoint, or just end the game and restart the game. But when you restart the game, you start with your new stats, right? So you keep on leveling up as you go along.
Yeah.
So and I just am not programmed that way. I'm not programmed to start over from scratch, even if you still have the upgraded stats. I'm not.
In my opinion, having beaten it, the old one and the new one, it takes, I would say, maybe 2 to 3 restarts to get like the stuff you need to really just be comfortable with the game. Because you're right, those stats affect everything from like your speed moving to your attack to the amount of slots you have for carrying things. And you just start out with just so little, and it's so hard on that first playthrough.
I'm going to say this, though. It feels easier this time around with a remastered version, and I don't think it's because I'm used to it. I think it's because they made it a little easier. They had the easy option as well. Oh, and they also have the unlimited option, so in case you don't want to be constrained by 72 hours, which is fine. I've gotten to the point in which when I see Survivor has died, I say, well, it sucks to be them. I don't care. Let them die. They're just annoyances.
I tried to get them all. I think I missed 2 by the time I finished the game.
The survivors. I have no. I respect the psychotics more than the survivors, to tell you the truth.
I will say that the survivors are easier to deal with than the remake.
Yeah, they're more competent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you hand them an item they like, they'll like follow you more closely, and they'll actually get involved in keeping zombies off of people that are more weak, like the people that you have to handhold and carry.
The only thing that's still around is the pathfinding for them, which isn't the best. But
they also made it. It feels like they made it so that if you're carrying somebody on your back in this version of the game, the zombies like won't grab you. You can like as long as you keep moving. If you stop, they'll get you. But if you keep moving while you got someone on your back, they seem to be unable to grapple you or even land a hit. So I like that actually.
I think if I play on normal, I'll be able to complete the game because the game actually tells you, hey, if you play on easy, you'll definitely complete the game. You know, but like I said, this is one of those games in which I'm willing to just push off for another time when I have it and I can use it. You know, and then I played Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
Nice. What'd you think?
I kind of dig the career mode.
There's a lot to do in that, right? Like, there's all sorts of different jobs.
Well, no, but it comes slowly. You have to make yourself qualify for each job that comes.
Oh, interesting.
Just you cannot just jump into a job. No, you only have one job at the beginning, and then you have then you choose which professional license you want, and it sort of like bubbles out. So you have all these branches. So you can only do the thing is that you initially do all the missions that are in your area. Like I chose Teterboro, which is near New York, and I realized that was a mistake because New York is kind of boring unless you're doing the city, but mostly it's in tri-state. A lot of people are starting in the Swiss Alps, for instance. But a few months in, it starts opening up, and I got a job as a professional all the way out in Italy. So you're not to that space. As a matter of fact, a second bubble opens up over there where you get those jobs. The problem, okay, so a lot of people have been bitching about the graphics, and one of the problems about the graphics is that partly it's done with the cloud, okay, and it uploads from the cloud, and so many people logged in on the first thing, no one could get it. No one could get it. It was like an MMO. It's like you try it again, 2 hours. Enjoy the loading screen forever. But even after it became able to go in, the servers are still super slow, and Microsoft said we'll open up some more servers for it. And what I would have liked to do, because I have enough hard drive space for it, is just to download the entire thing, so I don't have to use the cloud. You know? So what if it's another 200 gigabytes? I don't care. But the bugs that are in it, and I'm not saying about the visual bugs, because that's going to happen. Some of them are pretty funny. You know, when you go from 2D photogrammetry to 3D photogrammetry, see, the AI will build buildings in a 2D just from the top. The 3D, it looks like everything's melted wax. It looks horrible. These are things you're not supposed to be looking from the ground level. But guess what? That's the entire point of this game, is to be on ground level. Now, if you're out in Africa, the generated trees and all that stuff look great, you know. But when you have buildings, that's when it struggles to do 3D photogrammetry. So they really need to improve the AI on that. Like, no, you gotta. I haven't done any of the photography thing, and the game alternates from looking absolutely terrible to absolutely gorgeous. And for some people, it's like, what time is it? Oh, okay, it's gonna look gorgeous now. So I uninstalled it because it's 100 gigabytes on my SSD, which I cannot afford to do, and it's something I'm going to put off for a while because I just can't deal with it. The biggest errors are when you're doing missions and it starts screwing up, and it's sort of like it doesn't progress and you're stuck, because when it doesn't progress, nothing you can do will end the mission, right? And then you have to restart it and hope that it carries on. The other thing, there's a lot of really annoying things. Landing is a lot harder right now, and I think it has to do with the fact that there's a delay in there. And also, one of the most annoying things is that it says, when you land, taxi here and stop. So when I land, even if I do it perfectly, I'll be 5 feet beyond where I'm supposed to stop on the taxi, and you have to turn the entire plane around just to get there. And no, I'm not going to do that. And if you don't do that, it dings you because you're not doing it. You ignored something. Sometimes I'll do the radio because you have to contact the tower or whatever, and the game will claim that I did not contact it. A lot of bugs. I'm going to leave it alone for now. So that is not going to be a Game of the Year candidate, even if it's available. People are saying Stalker 2 is a Game of the Year candidate. And, oh, by the way, the Game Awards has a cutoff of November, early November. Oh, well, guess what? You'll just have to be the next year. If you can remember that game 13 months from now. It is really stupid. And once again, a Microsoft created game did not appear in the top 5, even though there should have been. And people know that the games are a complete and utter joke. They're an utter joke because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, really? That destroyed Square Enix. It was so bad. No one bought it. And now, the biggest thing that people have a problem with is Erdtree, really? It's DLC. You can't buy it on its own.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of games this year that I feel are being overlooked for these other ones. I mean,
yeah, because Jeff Keighley's show, and he has strong ties with Sony, which is why the last game that was made by Microsoft that was nominated for Best Game was Psychonauts 2, which was multi-platform. And before that, the only other Microsoft-produced game was Halo Reach.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, I know a lot of people who like Rebirth, so like I didn't like it. I'm kind of in the camp with Jonah, where like it wasn't.
It's a remake for one.
Yeah, and it's a sequel remake. Like it's a sequel to another remake.
And I have problems with Astrobot too. I know some people don't, but I do. It's not a Game of the Year candidate. I will say this: all these shitty candidates have no chance of winning. Fucking no chance of winning. Not Erdtree. Maybe Erdtree, but I doubt because it's DLC. There's only one game that people know is going to win, which is the game that counts, and that's Balatro.
Yes. So
well
deserved. I still think that like you could have put Yakuza Infinite Wealth on this list in place of Erdtree, and that would have made that would have been a sensible pick.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put DLC, then Stardew Valley should always be there, right? There's also the Golden Joystick Awards.
What's to keep like games like Guilty Gear and Fortnite and Call of Duty that have season pass after season pass after season pass from ending up in a category like any of these?
I mean, here's the thing. Also, it's kind of biased because you know what kind of games are never going to earn a best video game? Strategy games are not ever going to get nominated.
I don't think games like Trials of Daybreak probably won't get nominated either.
No, they weren't.
I maintained that like Unicorn Overlord is probably one of the top 3 games I've played this year. It's so damn good, and it sucks that it's relegated to only strategy. Same thing with Tekken 8. Tekken 8 is ridiculously good.
Yeah. You know what game is one of the best strategy games that's been released all year and it got ignored? Was Against the Storm. But who plays that? Oh, PC gamers. Who cares about them?
Apparently, a lot of people are saying Drova should have been nominated too because it's a pixel isometric game based in Celtic lore, and it has like really challenging, fun combat and story. And I see a lot of reviews saying that this is a hidden Game of the Year gem too.
Yeah,
but Golden Joystick Awards have better categories too. Like they have nominations for best self-developed indies.
Yeah, like self-published.
Yeah, self-published. Still Playing Awards, which, there you go. There's for Fortnite and all that stuff.
I'm trying to remember who won the self-published. Because I know Balatro won Indie Game of the Year, and I think it actually even won full. Did it win full Game of the Year, or was that something else?
It was an Indie Game of the Year, I think, at the awards. And Terry and Phil from Sabotage presented the award.
Yeah, nice. The only problem with the Golden, again, they're doing it in November. What the fuck? The Oscars do their nominations in February. There's a reason for that. 2 reasons. One, you have time to breathe, right? You're not doing it at the spur of the moment, right?
Yeah. Like even Shack News, we are talking about doing our award category debates, but like we're not going to start until like here in a little short while.
Black Myth Wukong won best overall ultimate game of the year, which is a joke.
And we have to, and we still are going to hold off on certain categories because we still have Indiana Jones sitting in December.
Yeah, that game. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to Indiana Jones as well, and that looks like a fun game.
You can't snub that off of a year list. That's going to be a huge deal. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to be a huge deal.
Oh, that reminds me. I also played Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And it reminded me why I didn't like Death Stranding.
Death Stranding is good at doing that.
Here's the thing. No, and there's a reason why I'm bringing it up now. But the problem with Death Stranding is that just choose one game mechanic, please. Just one.
No,
you know what
all of them, all of the time.
No, it's feature creep. You know what I really like? Having to balance all the shit on my back, and they should have leaned into that. No buggies, no things that you can. No. And none of the goop that attacks you. Fuck that noise.
Here's a trike. Now here's miles of terrain with pebbles that will stop that trike in its tracks. I love that game is so combative with you. It's like
combative. It's just dull fucking shit.
It is combative. That game, you'll be having a good time, and Death Stranding will be like, "Hold on there, buddy."
Hideo, you know what? I love the batshit crazy story. The batshit crazy story, it's complete and utter nonsense. I'm in for it. It conquered me there. Yeah, your president's. Oh, by the way, the president's your mother's the president, but she dies. So guess what? The daughter becomes the president, which is totally how a democracy works. It's
in another dimension.
It's a monarchy, right?
I've noticed that with Japanese games when they have like a mayor, and then they say, "Oh, the daughter needs to, the daughter's son needs to take over the mayor's position," and it's like that's not how democracy works.
Okay, here's the thing. Usually those mayors are in medieval stuff, and I don't care about that. But this is supposed to be the United States of America, and they're trying to rebuild the United States of America, and they're going to do it by having a monarchy.
There is some sort of established lore before the game begins that everybody really likes the daughter. Like, she led an expedition across the country.
And let them vote for her. And let them vote for her.
Yeah, it's
the graphics, yeah. The graphics are amazing, though. They're even better than when I first played it. And also, the Xbox version has Play Anywhere. I mean, not Play Anywhere. Is it Play Anywhere? Let me just... if you buy the Xbox version, you have the PC version. So I played mostly on the PC version, which is cool because I like that. There was a lot of... Oh, God, there was a game-breaking bug for a lot of people in which if you put it in... what's it called? And not even that, but if you... The game was not friendly with quick resume, and if you did that, you lost all your saves. I lost the save when they tried to do file transfer, but it's working now. They fixed that. It's one of those games in which maybe I'll just play it on ultra easy and just enjoy the batshit crazy story. I mean, I don't mind having the evil guys, who attack you, send things, and you have to beat the shit, and the stealth mechanic. That I cannot deal with the stupid ghost shit. I hate it. It makes no sense. You get pea grenades at some point. I understand that, but I just can't. I can't, Hideo. I can't. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that there were nominees for what? Best anticipated game?
Yeah.
Really? What the fuck? And Death Stranding 2 is one of them?
Of course it is.
There's no games that are coming to Xbox which are most anticipated, right? Or Nintendo for that matter. But there was some news about it. And the reason why it's on Xbox is that Hideo Kojima owns the license now. Which means Death Stranding 2 will be on Xbox at some point. But no, he owns the license straight out. So he's able to do that. Hideo, you know what? And Death Stranding 2, take out all the suck. That's what I want. You take out all the suck.
It does look like they're leaning hard into the batshit crazy, so I like that much.
Yeah, I know. Gameplay dictates story. I just don't care. Finally, the last game I've been playing is Dragon Age: The Veilguard, another playthrough. And I am enjoying it just as much. And now that I know the big secret of the game, a lot of things are pointing. And then I replayed that moment in which he relearns that Varric was killed. It had me tearing up because I knew it was happening. It's like, Like, it was too much, and that is why I think it's story of the year. Well, I know you were saying, well, it's too much like a Marvel movie, and the thing is, I played all of the Dragon Ages. It never felt like that. Maybe it's because I played all the Dragon Ages on PC, and it doesn't feel like that to me. Maybe it's on the console that people think it plays like a Marvel thing. Because I played Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game. They're not the same game.
I have seen the varied opinions that people have on the story, including yours, and like, it could really just be a me thing. But like, I'm not alone.
No, I think you're not alone. So it's not
argument.
just a you thing. Well, it is a you thing. It's another people's.
But I'm not like in the camp of. But I'm not like in the camp of some of those people that are just like, there's people that aren't white in the game. It's DEI. It's woke. It's terrible.
What really killed me is
there are people that are like so mad over the stupidest shit and just want this thing to fail for not even good reasons.
Let them be mad. It's like these people are trying to come onto Blue Sky and they're getting themselves banned.
I at least wanted to be like, I at least was fair. Like, I gave it a full hard try, and like, I went through that game and gave it its full paces, and like, I think it's beautiful. I think it's really gorgeous, and I think the parts of the story and the concept and the situation that's set up is really awesome. I just don't like the dialogue, and I just don't like the combat.
Oh God, I'm gonna say something that's gonna make you depressed now. In this playthrough, instead of having Harding, instead of choosing Harding, I chose our Grey Warden. And he dies because one inevitable death that you can't prevent in the game, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of Harding dying, he died, and Hassan went in after him, and Hassan died, which was fucking depressing.
Goodness gracious,
that was depressing. he falls into the pit, and Hassan just goes right in after him, trying to save him, and he dies too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was devastating. I haven't finished the game. I just got up to that part again. I just wanted to see how things would change if I chose. And it's a tough choice too. Because you have the last Grey Warden with a Griffin, and then you have some Lace Harding who is awakened, as a Titan. So I don't know. It's a bitter playthrough.
Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely hard choices in the game. Like, I didn't think that the entire story was shoddy. I didn't think that all of the dialogue was bad. There was just enough of the dialogue that bugged me that made me not want to
So in this game, I have my Inquisitor in it, right? From the previous game, I built him. So it's not going to have the romance with Solus. My guy still wanted to save him. It's going to be interesting to see how the ending changes, because the ending with a female Inquisitor who's in love with Solus, it's so touching how it ends. It's be interesting to see if they're good friends instead of lovers who are going to interact. So, I mean, some people they give you the option to trick Solus, or you can decide to accept Solus's offer and be stuck in the fate. Anyways, so that's what we've been playing. That was a long time because we don't really have that much news to talk about. Some blockbuster news, though. Google to sell Chrome and be banned from re-entering the browser market for 5 years, recommends the U.S. Department of Justice. It's not been decided yet, but it's one of many things. Here's the thing. I don't give a shit about Chrome. I don't use Chrome. I know they misused Chrome, but it's like, oh, wait. Maybe it's because of the Chrome laptops.
Oh, that's probably it, yeah.
But no, here's the thing. They're advertising as Chrome laptops. It's not like are they forcing other manufacturers to use it? I don't know. The one thing that'll be interesting is if Google is forced to divest Android. That'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, you can use Firefox on Android, so there's other options.
No, it has nothing to do with Firefox. Remember, you have the Google Store. You have the Play Store, which is Google. Android is a big shit. And the other thing is, what if they decide to force Google to divest YouTube?
That was what I was hoping for.
That would be a huge blow. And also probably better for everybody.
Also,
Yes.
well, the thing is, I wonder if they would actually go Ma Bell with it too and just split up YouTube.
I don't think that they would split up YouTube because, well, maybe because YouTube does bring in like I don't know, like
It's 78% of the market.
It's a lot. It's not like the lion's share of Google's revenue, but it is a strong.
Daily Motion is a far.
There's not a whole lot of videos.
There's Daily Motion.
There's a lot
And
of other.
there's Vimeo. And then you have that one that fell victim to alt-right shit. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So Daily Motion has the worst ads.
And they have said that this is like the beginning. What Chrome isn't going to be the last thing that they're going after Google for after this.
The thing is, Chrome. Who gives a shit about Chrome?
I think this is just a starting point. Like this is the opening chapter.
The thing that matters most to me is YouTube. Android will be interesting, but Android is just a format. You know, it's just like not Apple. That's what it is. So.
It's
Android will survive on its own.
Like even if Chrome isn't the biggest thing, it is good that this is starting because we've all seen it over these last decades. The United States has been awful at managing antitrusts and monopolies.
But here's the thing: there is a precedent. There is a precedent for this, and that is Microsoft and Internet Explorer. If you remember back in 2001, I think it was, in which Microsoft forced every Windows thing to have Internet Explorer on it, and they ended up making some sort of deal, right?
Yeah.
You can uninstall Edge. Now it's Edge. No problem. It's not attached to the system, so. And Firefox is big, but it's not mega big, you know? I actually use Edge a little bit more because it's faster than Firefox. For whatever reason, Firefox has become a nom memory eater like nothing else.
It has. I still use Firefox more than the other two just because it is reliable.
Here's the thing. I need to use NoScript with Firefox. I don't need to use the same kind of protection with Edge. Edge has its own protection, which is just as good. So it's like if I want to do something fast, I use Edge. If I want to make sure that I don't have any Trojans, I use Firefox. So because it has NoScript. If I'm desperate and need to see if there's anything wrong with my internet, I check Chrome to see if it's not just the browsers that are fucking up. It's like I can't use YouTube Studio in Firefox or in Edge. Let me check it out in Chrome and see if it's it's not doing it there too, so it must be. I've never had I don't trust Chrome laptops anyway. I like to have, be able to install things. Moving on to the news, we touched on this. Stalker 2 sold 1 million copies, and that's not including the Game Pass.
Yeah. Good for them. I'm really happy that it came out of the gate with good sales because those guys have been through the ringer. And
it also shows that Game Pass is not going to eat into your sales as much as you think it is.
Yeah. I've even seen some people that played a little bit in Game Pass and then they went and
bought it. Yeah. I did that with Vampire Survivor. I played on Game Pass as shit. It's $4. I'm going to give them the $4.
Yeah. It's and it's worth it too because like not only is it a vast game, like that game has a lot of hours in it, and it's only going to get bigger and better because they have expansion pass content that they're planning to do,
which is not included in Game Pass. So there's that.
And then they're going to open it up to the modders, which they're going to have. So in the future, they're going to have DLC content. They're going to have multiplayer, which I think multiplayer is just going to be locked into the main game. And then they're going to open it up to modding. And I think that just like people will probably be playing this game for the next 10 to 15 years. I wholly believe that.
I think there will be a Stalker 3 at some point, but it's not going to be like Elder Scrolls Skyrim, which just goes on and on and on and on and on. Here's the thing. You could check the first Stalker games, and I think you'll get as much out of them as you are getting out here. Because they're different enough that it isn't like you're just playing the same game, only worse.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics may be a little bit more primitive, but yeah.
Oh my god, the graphics in Stalker 2 are damn good. The game has
graphics in
dynamic.
Stalker 1 were okay. Were good too. And the thing is that there was never really a console release until Xbox One, I think it was, when it was actually the consoles were actually able to catch up.
Yeah, the game has a dynamic day-night cycle and dynamic weather. And when you're wandering through the world and like it'll start raining, if you walk by puddles, you'll actually see like raindrops flickering off the surface of the pond of like puddles on the ground. And then you'll have like a lightning storm come up and straight up like lightning will hit the ground right in front of you. And my buddy has told me it can actually hit you and kill you.
Hey, if you're waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6, might as well play this for now.
Yeah. So, like, very impressive. That's actually going to be in our conversations for graphics, like best water, best art style, and things like that.
You see, here's the thing about Game Pass is like it's sort of like a game demo. Remember we had demos?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have full game. It's not on Game Pass. They're not demos, but there might as well be. You go in, you check it out, you play as much as you want. Say, okay, I like it. I'll continue playing, or you say, no, it's not for me, and just uninstall it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, why not? It's basically a free catalog of stuff that you can check out week to week.
And speaking of which, we have some news about that on the Sony side as well, but we'll get to that. Steam has changed its policy on DLC content and season passes, and now players are entitled to proper compensation if future plans fall through. Customers will be offered a refund for the value of unreleased DLC, and I'm thinking, how is this going to work? The only thing I can think of is that if you prepay for a season pass or prepay for DLC and they don't release it. But here's the thing. Dragon Age the Veilguard is not going to have any DLC. None was ever, but you're not going to get any refund because it was never released, So, same thing with Mass Effect Andromeda.
This is a very interesting precedent, and we're going to probably see some very chafed developers in the early stages.
There's Iudian Chronicles, which said that they were going to release their DLC back in August and September and October, and now we've gone past those, and we have not heard anything on...
Yeah, but here's the thing. At what point do you say the DLC is not going to be released? I mean, what if they release the DLC 2 years from now?
That's what these policies are supposed to stop. That's like I think that.
But are they adding they're adding a time limit for DLC?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the details is that from now on, when somebody says they're going to put out season pass content, in order to list it on Steam, they have to put a concrete release date with it. And after that, if they're going to delay the game, they can reasonably delay it once for up to 3 months. So basically you can't list it on the store anymore without having a release date for the content. And then if they don't deliver by the release date, or if they cancel it, then they're required to give the customer a partial refund for the content that wasn't delivered.
Okay, that makes much more sense. I wonder who's going to be.
I think that some developers are going to have a hard time with this. In particular, fighting game developers are going to have a hard time with this, because fighting game developers are notorious for making.
Why? I mean, they have the fucking DLC on the disc. They don't even have to worry about that.
They are notorious for making season passes that have mystery characters, like you don't know about them until they reveal them at a certain time. You're not going to be able to do that on this new system. They're going to have to show those characters and release them on time. And it's going to be interesting to see how that works, because like we said, there is the leeway where they can delay up one time reasonably, but I also think that there's other developers like the Iudian Chronicles developers that don't have a timeline and can't give a timeline, where they're going to be they might have to delist the DLC.
Anyways, speaking of DLC, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth won't be getting any.
Yeah.
I told all the developers we're focused on the third game, and it's sort of like, who cares?
Yeah, I didn't think they were required or needed to do DLC.
That's kind of what I've thought as well. Like, it was kind of weird to me that Final Fantasy VII Remake had DLC in the form of Intrograde, Because like,
well, don't all these Japanese games always have tons and tons and tons and tons of costumes that you could buy for ridiculous prices?
yeah, but like Final Fantasy VII, I don't think has had much outside of like. I think they had like some bonus trinkets for pre-orders, but Intergrade was like the big expansion to it, and it sounds
That's
like
really.
they're just,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
and it sounds like they're just skipping that altogether and moving on to the next thing, which they. I don't know why they wouldn't just do that.
I think they're trying to get it over with. To tell you the truth, I think that they're tired of this Final Fantasy VII stuff. You know what? What I find interesting is that I think these remakes, have damaged Final Fantasy VII's reputation because now everybody has been talking about how great Final Fantasy VI was and how much better it was than people thought. It's sort of like Final Fantasy VII has been raising Six's profile, as we're going to read a little bit later. It's sort of like people are saying, "Oh, yeah, he died. Who cares?" Oh, but Final Fantasy VI has such a great story.
There's a big feel right now for these like old school style games that they've been doing between like Octopath Traveler, the Pixel remasters.
Well, we're going to be talking about that in a moment, but I'm just saying it's sort of like Final Fantasy VI's reputation has been skyrocketing lately.
Mm-hmm. And I just think that like these there must be some level of fatigue there when it comes to the AAA side of Square
I'm definitely fatigued of Final Fantasy VII. It's just so much, and I've read on what they've done with the story, and I feel like it just kind of messes with. Yeah, you had this perfect game. I mean, maybe it wasn't perfect, but it didn't need another. It didn't need another line. It didn't need another brush. It didn't need a change.
I'm not going to say that because there's a lot of people who are so grateful that Resident Evil 2 remake came out and Resident Evil 3 remake came out. And Resident Evil 4 as well as also a VR version. No. The problem is dividing this game up into parts because the method they're doing it, they wanted to make it look like a modern Final Fantasy game, like 13, 14, 15, 15, and 16, right?
Yeah, that's
but
what they were going for.
They were impatient and tried to get it out too fast. What happens is that it knocked off a lot of things because where they cut it off in the first remake is that Sephiroth did not appear in that section of the game. So they had to invent a way to get Sephiroth in a place where he was never in before. So they had to screw up all the timeline shit just to get a popular character in. They should have just went the long thing and just released one big game and that's it.
Yeah.
If they had waited take 8 years to make, people would understand because it's a big game. And when it came out, you could just make bank. Sell it for $80 for the entire thing with Final Fantasy 16 graphics, and people would have eaten it up. But
yeah, and it's just like I don't know. Everybody seems so like much more charmed and happy with whenever we see stuff like Dragon Quest III 2D HD,
or Fantasio,
or when we see stuff out of the Octopath devs.
Oh, by the way, you know what? I forgot. That's the one challenger that could take Balatro, and that is Fantasio.
So. Metaphor and ReFantasio would be a good one.
A lot of people. There's been a lot of praise for that game.
I love it. It's an awesome game.
And what's great is that it has an extensive demo. It's like 30 hours, and if you want to see if you really like the game, guess what? Just play the demo. I'm not in love with it. It's one of those games in which I say it's nice. I'll try it when I have time. Of course, God knows when I have time. That's the one thing about constantly getting games on games upon games. Like stacks up. Say, when am I? Oh God, this game's 120 hours. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's the one problem with Metaphor, the Fantasio, is that it is a fucking long game. Long game, and you have to have an investment in time with it.
And I thought there was a time limit on there, like there's characters trying to outdo you.
In-game, yes, but the game itself is like 80 to 120 hours, depending on how much you delve into it. It is a very, very long game. Yeah. But I mean, people love the gameplay mechanics of it. So And by the way, this game, oh no, it was the other game actually. Oh, what was that game? I think it was called something 31. You know the game. It's sort of like the best Final Fantasy game you never played.
Something 31. Is it like is it a mecha game?
No, it was a code. No, it's Remember, it's that it was that game that was announced on Microsoft's thing, and people were like, "Oh yeah," and then all of a sudden it's like, "Holy shit, this looks really good." It's the game in which everybody dies at a certain age, and it's like everybody who was 34 died, everybody who was at 33 died. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Expedition 33.
Yeah, that's it. Expedition 33.
Is that coming out this year or next year?
Next year.
Okay.
But Expedition 33, because what happens is that what I was thinking of when I started thinking of Final Fantasy, no, it's to be announced. So, which is whenever it's done. No, the reason why I bring it up is that I was thinking about Final Fantasy 16, and it's sort of like it was a game that came out. It wasn't Metaphor de Fantasio, but people looked at it and said, "Oh, thank you. We're getting the Final Fantasy that's turn-based again." So,
yeah,
that's
that
Expedition
does look 33.
Very good. Yeah. So it's sort of like when people saw the trailer, it's like, "Oh my God, it's Final Fantasy, but it's turn-based."
Yeah.
So yeah. So we're gonna move on to the late news, and you know what, Scott, do the third one since we already touched on it. Dragon Quest III.
Okay. So the Dragon Quest III remake producer wants to give Final Fantasy VI some HD 2D love. This is from Shack News.
Oh, and by the way, Scott, you're talking in TJ's voice now.
What?
TJ wrote this, so you're actually writing what he wrote.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that's awesome. That's very cool. Okay. Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake has launched, and with it comes a wonderfully upgraded vision of a classic and beloved RPG. But with it out, Dragon Quest developers have some idea of what they want to do next. Producer Magasaki Hakasaka, in particular, opined on exactly what he'd like to do. Tackle the legendary Final Fantasy VI for HD 2D treatment. Hayasaka shared his thoughts on the future projects and the possibility of a Final Fantasy VI remake in an interview with Inverse. There, he shared his reasoning for the possibility, including the fact that Final Fantasy VI was actually a hefty reference for the HD 2D style Square Enix is currently using. Octopath Traveler, the first HD 2D title, was developed while referencing Final Fantasy VI, as it had the highest quality pixel art. I would love to see how the game we referenced would look with the HD 2D art style. Now, was that...
That's his quote.
Yeah, Hayasaka. And with that, it sounds like Final Fantasy VI would be a sensible pick for the HD 2D style. Obviously, there's quite a bit more to the process than just one producer's hopes, and it certainly isn't a confirmation of Final Fantasy VI remake by Square Enix, but the prospect sounds promising. Final Fantasy VI is widely considered by many to be the best of the series as ever offered, with a myriad of characters, incredible story, and amazing music. And I agree.
I think it's the myriad characters that's the underlying there for the HD 2D style, because it works best when you have a shit ton of characters that you have to deal with.
I think is it 16? Yeah, I think there is, because you have 3 parties in the tower, so yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh no, 14. That's right. 2 extra. But this is a great thing, because I mean, if somebody at Square Enix wants to do it, that's a good sign, at least, that maybe they can get things going if they get good reaction from the audience and the fandom and the consumers, and that's right. The Dragon's Quest III HD 2D is also sold really well in Japan.
What's funny is that Dragon Quest, the series, were Enix, not Square Enix. They got
right. I know.
Not by Square during the merger.
They were Enix, but now
that's the other thing. The other news was that Dragon Quest III HD was selling like cocaine in Japan. They were just buying it up there, breaking records.
Seems to be doing decently well on Steam.
Well, here's the thing. They actually have a holiday for Dragon Quest. When a new Dragon Quest is released in Japan, no one comes into work. It's everybody has the day off on that day. So.
I think this is good news, and I mean, it doesn't confirm it, but at least it puts it in a positive light of a good chance of happening, at least.
Enix owns both. I mean, they can if they want to. TJ?
I mean, yeah, like Scott covered a lot of my own sentiments, but like I consider Final Fantasy VI is like my second favorite Final Fantasy. I like Final Fantasy IX better. That's just me. But
I like that one too.
But as far as like the ranking of them go, it would almost always be Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VI, because Final Fantasy VI is just ridiculous how good it is. It's got so much good things in it. It's like the best that they could do with what they had at the time on technology, storytelling, developers and artists and everything. And like, I think it's the peak of classic JRPG. But like I've also heard people say that they like don't want them to mess with that because we have things like the Final Fantasy VI Pixel remaster now. What do you think of that, Scott?
You know what?
I can understand that sentiment of not wanting it messed with, but I would like to see it with these HD 2D graphics. It looks really nice, and just being able, because that's what I've been longing for. Really, is just to have a sweeping, epic story in this HD 2D remake.
What? 100 Heroes? 100 Heroes didn't do it for you?
Not quite. I was a little disappointed with it. I felt like it didn't have the bite that Suikoden usually had, because there was a lot of like the talent get captured, but you can revisit it. There was nothing really missable. Maybe something should be missable. Maybe there should be consequences. There should be more grimness, and it just felt like it didn't quite get the edge that it.
I mean, Aiden Chronicles weren't. Weren't actually supposed to be dark and gritty. I mean, you can have Suikoden for that.
Well, Suikoden was at least, but yeah.
But Aiden is intentionally lighter.
So. It is, but there are hints of really dark stuff happening, but it's all off screen.
Nah, if you want that, go for Sea of Stars.
So, if I understand right, Scott, your hope for a Final Fantasy VI 2D HD would be like spruce up the visuals, and maybe spruce up the music, but like leave the gameplay and all of the story elements and all that.
Leave the story alone. The story is fine. It does not need to be changed.
What about like the mechanics and the gameplay, like the characters and their abilities and everything?
Gameplay were good.
They can be cleaned up, really. I mean,
yeah,
it's not perfect. I mean, they can clean it up a bit. What was the game that was released? Oh yeah, I mean, like they cleaned up the gameplay for Dead Rising, so that now you could firing a gun was a lot less of a chore.
Reducing encounter rates and the option to reduce encounter rates in an RPG world is always an acceptable option, in my opinion.
Yeah. No random monster characters that appear out of nowhere. I like walking along and whoop. It's like in Pokemon. You're walking along, and all of a sudden a Zubat attacks for no reason.
The Final Fantasy VI had a nice thing with the characters. Each character was its own class, and they had their own abilities. So it made you would play it differently depending on which characters you were using. So it made things, interesting. So I hope that's maintained at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really can't go wrong with whatever they just are assigned to do HD 2D remakes anyway. I mean, there's no bad option really.
Yep. So it's worth noting that even if this does come to be, we're looking at Dragon Quest 1 and Dragon Quest 2 HD remakes first.
Right.
And then that can become a possibility. So this is probably more than a year or two out from even like being announced.
And I am hoping for Dragon Quest 4 remake actually as well. So
I hear a lot of people say that if like Dragon Quest 3 isn't their favorite, then Dragon Quest 4 is.
Yep.
You would be really radical. Check this out. What if they turn Final Fantasy 13 into a 2D HD remake? HD 2D remake. That would improve it. It's no longer
yeah.
3D. Get that crap out of there. Fuck that. Just make it into an old style. What's it called? HD 2D. What's it called? Square Enix game.
You couldn't do that
Instead of
because
long, endless corridors.
that would be a lot of work because they'd have to flesh out the world and turn it into not a fucking corridor that you walk through for 40 hours.
They'd have to remake that whole thing pretty much.
They did it. They actually made a version of Halo for the Atari 2600. You can do it. You can do it.
God, like I have feelings about Final Fantasy 13.
A lot.
And
how did it spawn 2 sequels?
And they compound every time that somebody comes up and says it's time for us to admit that Final Fantasy 13 wasn't that bad.
I felt
Here's the thing: if it takes you 30 hours to get to the good gameplay mechanics,
that's not a good game.
Wrong there. You know.
Yeah, I felt so like
waste my
I
time.
felt so condescended to when I played that game. It just felt so like your hand is being held.
It's the hand-holdiest RPG.
Characters and I just was not into that game at all.
But you could do it. You just retain the story as weak as it is. Everybody's immortal, but now they say, "Oh, they're not immortal. They're just aging hundreds of years and they don't die." That's not immortal, right? But anyways, just do the story with Zelda graphics, and you'll be fine. Develop it even more. Make it into an NES game.
I have a feeling that if Square Enix came out and everybody was like, yeah, let's see if they do like Final Fantasy VI or maybe Final Fantasy V or Dragon Quest IV, and they announced Final Fantasy 13 remake, I think people would have a massive meltdown.
It would.
No, it's the Final Fantasy 13 does not suck edition.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I can turn left? Oh my God!
You had so much gold you could go to, and you went for sewage.
Wait, I have to do actual strategy in the battles? Oh my God! You're not gonna play them for me?
You know, that's a good point. There's so much gold. There's games that have not seen the light of day forever, like Terranigma, Bahamut Lagoon, the Rudrez Treasures. There's so many good games.
Make Xenogears Complete Edition, you cowards.
Yeah, there you go.
Take a mediocre game and make it better. That's what I say.
Oh.
Take a mediocre game and make it better. I mean, here's the thing. You know what? Zelda 2, the side-scrolling one, they could improve that. You know, keep it side-scrolling and all that stuff. Imagine a Metroidvania Zelda.
That is actually something I agree with. I think that Zelda 2 is actually fun. It's just also very obtuse.
Except for one little thing, and that was the fucking hotline that it was impossible to continue. Oh no, I'm thinking of Castlevania 2. Simon's. Wait, was it Simon? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm confusing with
Are you thinking of the one where you have to hold the crystal and stand at the wall and crouch for like 10 seconds?
Yeah, it's like there's no way you could know that unless you called up the hotline.
I found that out because there was. I actually, in my grade school, there was a book in our school library that was just like Nintendo game secrets.
Oh, I remember seeing that on the shelves, yeah.
And that's how I learned about that trick.
I'm going to tell you, those Prima guides, the Prima guide for Master of Magic is what introduced me to Master of Magic and made me fall in love with it. I got it 2 years after I got the Prima guide for it. Oh, Master of Magic. They finally remade you, and it was uninteresting. Sucks. But make a Master of Magic 2 and make it good. Because here's the thing. It's Magic the Gathering meets Civilization. It can't fail. Scott, did you ever play Master of Magic?
No, I have not.
Play the original Master of Magic and say, oh my God, this is totally fucking Magic the Gathering, except they're turning it into a Civilization.
It does sound interesting.
Yeah. Except when it first came out, the Paladins were absolutely unbeatable. They would just wipe everything off the map, and they had to nerf them in 1.3. We're going to move on to the next item. PlayStation Portal update adds cloud gaming in support in beta, no PS5 required. This comes from Eurogamer. It's update time for their PlayStation Portal, and Sony's latest release offers something markedly more exciting than usual. Cloud streaming is coming to the handheld device if you're a PlayStation Plus Premium member albeit as a beta. Since its launch last year, the 200 euro, no, it is pound. The 200-pound PlayStation Portal, a PS5 peripheral rather than a standalone device, has enabled owners to stream games from their console to a smaller 1080p. With Sony pitching it as a way to share the living room TV or play PlayStation 5 games in another room of the house. Its use was somewhat limited back then, but Sony's latest update marks a great untethering, enabling PlayStation Plus premium subscribers to play select PS5 games from the game catalog without a PS5. There will be 120 games supported during the beta, including Dave the Diver, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Monster Hunter Rise, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. They can be streamed at a 1080p, 60 frames per second. Microsoft, by the way, has also updated their cloud where there's I think it's 20 to 30 games which are not on Game Pass that you can play with the cloud streaming there too. And Microsoft said that at some point you'll be able to play all of your games that you own digitally through the cloud streaming. So it's coming to pass. I mean, it's like physical say bye-bye, really.
Yeah. I think that this actually kind of makes the Portal a slightly more reasonable product.
Well, they're now admitting that what they want you to have is a subscription. They don't necessarily need you to have a PlayStation 5 now.
So, now, this gives you an option where, because before you had to have the PS5 in your own home. So that was a non-starter for me right away, because also you couldn't play this thing anywhere that didn't have a Wi-Fi connection.
Why need that when you have a Switch? Hey.
And then, making it so that you can actually choose between getting a full-on PS5 and just a cheaper PlayStation Portal if you don't have the money for a full PS5, or God forsake, a PS5 Pro. That actually sounds more reasonable, even if the games are slightly less quality because of the cloud.
So, a lot of what's going on is basically underscoring what Phil Spencer said last week, and I should put it in the notes, but he said there's no longer a red line for any game to be multi-platform. So he says any game could be we might release any game multi-platform if it makes sense for us. And what he's doing is basically really stressing the fact that consoles are becoming less and less important. And it's going to be more about what you get for the bang of the buck than it is for tethering yourself to one or other consoles. It seems to me like he's saying we want to make it so that it isn't exclusives that make you want to buy a console. It's how does the console itself treat you, right? What is it going to give me? Sort of like buying a microwave oven. You have a choice of several microwave ovens. Which one you pick is going to be the one that you think does best for you. So, like I said, it's like PCs. Let me put it that way. What do you choose a PC on the basis of its Dell or Gateway or any other brand or Falcon Northwest? No, you're gonna build your own PC, aren't you? The game's stupid. It's the games.
I agree with that. It is getting to that point. And for all we know, they keep saying that they're going to keep making consoles, but
both of them already have their plans for the next generation, but the next generation may be the last one.
Right. Because eventually, I don't know, why not just work on that? It sounds like they're moving in, like you're saying, towards just they want you to buy the subscription. The subscription is the thing that's the most important. Because they can only sell you a console once. They can sell you a subscription for the rest of your life. Yeah.
And the thing is that it's going to be interesting because the one predicate that what both especially Microsoft is looking at is broadband proliferation, right? At some point, everybody's going to have high-speed internet access. It may take a long while, but Microsoft learned they try to force it too fast with the Xbox One. So now they're just biding their time, waiting for more proliferation, and then boom, Oh, it's online only. By the way, that reminds me, I rejoined Blink Fitness, right? And you used to get a card. Now you get an app. And it's sort of like, well, you might as well because no one needs a card anymore. They're just doing apps. And if you don't have the app, if you don't have the app, you just tell them your phone number every time you go. But it's kind of reasonable to expect someone to be able to download an app on their cell phone that they can just flash for them. It's sort of the same thing going on here. At some point, high-speed internet is going to be ubiquitous, like a phone, like a telephone, right? And at that point, people are going to just drop it and say, yeah, you don't really need a console anymore. What you're going to be getting is a hey, fuck, micro. You can play Xbox games on your Samsung Smart TV right now.
Yeah.
All you need is a controller.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something I'm looking forward to, but then I think, when was the last time I bought a physical PC game?
I haven't in years at this point, and
it's been years.
Recent too.
I wish they had
codes and boxes now.
I should go to Walmart and see if they have. Remember those stacks of $5 CDs with hundreds of games on them? I want to see if they still exist.
No, wait. I do remember. I remember the last time I bought a physical game. It was Guilty Gear Strive. I bought the collector's edition.
Oh no, I'm talking about a PC game. You use a physical PC game?
Oh no.
No, I'm saying the last time you bought a physical PC game.
I haven't even had a PC with a CD driver. And
I have one because I rip my DVDs so I can edit them. That's why you can always get an external Blu-ray drive, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, I still have physical movies, so they're all in one big thing. There's like 800 of them in there. But it's getting to that point in which it'll be sort of like, my house still has a landline. But not many people have landlines anymore. It's going to be like that, in which it'll be rare to find a landline. What's interesting is the streaming services are turning themselves into virtual cable networks. So they're starting to imitate the cable networks, except they're streaming and cable networks are not. But here's the thing, I still am finding joy in going onto a radio station and not being able to select the music that they play for me, right? So this is what we're playing, love it or hate it, it's what we're playing. So I miss that.
Yeah.
Although I will say they're starting to understand that appointment TV is really, really important for attachment. Because if you do a streaming service and you release all the episodes, no one's going to talk about it, really. They're going to talk about the last, and no one's going to be on the same page. With Game of Thrones, when an episode ended, you couldn't watch the next episode. So you discussed what's happening, what happened in that episode, what's going to happen next. You have anticipation. You can't do that if with I can't believe I forgot the term. With gorging on all the episodes,
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's a show From is doing that. You get one episode every week, every Sunday.
The main benefit now, though, is if you missed an episode, you can catch up. So you won't be, that's the one thing about streaming is not that you can binge all of them, but that if you missed an episode, you're not going to miss it. You can just go back and watch it. And that's the one thing about Fallout. Amazon made a serious mistake in releasing all the episodes at once. Fallout was already getting amazing reviews, right? But if they had done one episode at a time, I guarantee it would have been Games of Thrones level excitement. And then you would have seen me in the last episode. Did you see me in the last episode?
I haven't been able to watch the series because I don't have a subscription to the service.
You'll see me in the last episode, and it's kind of obviously me. Except
I saw you in the Fallout 4 for Fall show.
Fallout 4. This takes place after Fallout 4 and before Fallout 5. You know what, though? I'm going to say something. I wish Nick Valentine would show up and kick the ghoul's ass. Nick Valentine will wipe the mat with him, and the ghoul would deserve it. Nick, where are you? We need you.
Yeah.
He'd still be alive because he's a synth. You'd have to worry about time with him. He would kick the and so would So would Hancock too. Hancock would kick the Ghoul's ass too.
Do you think they'll ever give the Fallout series a Blu-ray release?
Probably, yeah, sure.
Because that's probably the way I'm going to watch it. I don't. It's on Amazon Prime, right?
Yes.
It's on Amazon Prime.
I am one of the few people in the universe that doesn't have a subscription to Amazon Prime.
Elon Musk is not Elon Musk. I'm sorry. Jeff Bezos is very disappointed in you.
Yes, I know. Their metal gauntlets.
Some other news, by the way. A whole shitload of advertisers have left X. McDonald's and Walmart and everything. And it's sort of like they're starting to get the idea, oh, wait a minute, this defection is real.
Yeah.
Like, they'll come back. Why? Why would they come back?
It's a horrible little echo chamber of sadness.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, everything Elon Musk touches turns to dust. I mean, Tesla is going down, and SpaceX is having problems and requires U.S. help for that. Like, anyways, it basically X is turning into Gab.
Yep. I hope it goes the same way as it.
Well, Gab is still around, but people are constantly getting arrested from it. It's like, it's a shit show. That's fine. And by the way, Gab is also an easy way for the FBI to see what people are doing.
Yeah.
But, what's his name? Andrew Tate tried to go on Blue Sky and he was banned the same day. And here's the thing. You can't get banned just for posting stuff that's right-wing. That's what the right-wing thing. Oh, it's a left-wing echo chamber. No, it's a non-asshole place. And if you're an asshole, you're out. You know? You have to work to get banned that fast. No idea what the fuck Andrew Tate might have. Maybe he decided he was going to talk about his latest 13-year-old conquest or something. I don't know. So, yeah. Blue Sky is now at 20 million, I believe, and rising. Still not as big as Threads, which shocked me because I seldom ever use Threads. But then, Threads, Instagram, and Facebook are all tied together. If you post on Instagram, you can automatically post on Threads and Facebook. So I guess that's the reason why. It's sort of like why Hulu Plus is still a thing, because it's part of Disney Plus, right? I don't know. It's interesting. And the other alternative, there's one other alternative to, there's one other, and I forgot what it is. But yeah, Threads is still number 2 to Twitter, although I'm going to dead name X. Thank you. Since Elon dead names, I'll dead name. He complained about that too. It's like, well, you're dead naming your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyways, we're getting way too political there. Hey, TJ, do the next item, please.
Sure.
Get us out of here.
Path of Exile Early Access has a 25-hour campaign. 5 years since it was originally announced, Path of Exile 2 is finally a few weeks out from its early access launch.
Talk about a game that's been in production for 1 billion years.
Yeah. Developer Grinding Gears Games dumped 4 hours of information recently on a stream, including what classes you can play, the length of the campaign, and what you can do at a max level with its meaty endgame. The building of the game, launching on December 6th, with preloading available a couple days earlier, is hefty, with 3 of its 6 campaign acts and 6 of the 12 6 of the 12 classes available. The truncated story will take around 25 hours to finish, and you'll have to do it twice to reach the level 65 cap for early access. You won't repeat the same acts in the finished game, where the level cap will grow to 100. But it'll roughly emulate what the journey to PoE 2's endgame will look like when it's done. Witch and Ranger are the 2 classes returning from PoE 1, and Warrior, Monk, Mercenary, and Sorceress are the new bloods for PoE 2. Each of them will start with somewhere different in PoE 2's skill tree, which is just as gargantuan as the first games. And they'll each have 2 of their 3 subclasses or ascendancies available. People are already picking them apart on Reddit trying to suss out potential builds.
Don't you love that when a game is so anticipated? Any scrap of information you get, you start picking apart and trying to plan your character long before it's even ready.
Yeah. And games where things get pretty complicated if you're not a devoted PoE player. PoE 2 will expand on many of the systems in the first game, and the GGG plans on bringing back seasonal or league mechanics over time. One returning system is similar to mapping in PoE 1, but has you jumping into a wider variety of randomized dungeons and boss encounters to earn permanent upgrades for your character. This sounds like a lot, but also it sounds like exactly what people that love Diablo type games want.
Did you ever play Path of Exile?
I've played a little bit of the game, but I hear all the time about how it's like the perfect counter to Diablo.
Well, for one thing, it's free to play.
Yeah, you can free play it, but you have all these you could buy storage and you can buy aesthetic equipment gear. Just makes you look visually different, and it's probably the fanciest Diablo I've ever seen.
Diablo 3 was very kind to Path of Exile. People jumped ship from Diablo 3 to play Path of Exile. And like I said, there's no entry barrier to playing it. I never really got into it, but basically because I never really got back into Diablo games after 2. After 2, it's sort of like I don't know. I never enjoyed Torchlight, never enjoyed any of the other Diablo style games. So it's me. It's not the game style.
Yeah, I'm not terribly into Diablo-like play style. It doesn't. I don't know. It's
I will say this: I still replay Diablo 2, the remastered edition, every so often. So I think it's just that Diablo 2 did it the best, and everything else just disappointed for me. The loot grind in Diablo 2 was perfect.
Mm-hmm. And like the fact, and that's kind of what makes me not immediately want to jump into Path of Exile is that it sounds like I got to do homework with this game's skill tree. It sounds like I need to do some research, see what people are talking about when it comes to builds, because it sounds like if I just go in there and throw points around all willy-nilly, I might end up having a bad time.
Yeah,
it will be tough. It is. I agree. There is a certain amount. You have to enjoy doing that skill tree. I think that has to be part of the gameplay experience that you enjoy. And for me, that's not my joy. That doesn't.
Here, I gave you a link on Skype, and you can check that link out just to frighten you.
I'm having a look.
Let's see.
Oh,
Wow.
I know.
It's a skill tree.
Every one of those is a node. Every one of those little colored spots is a node. Oh my goodness!
It's like, and there's more on the outside.
Yeah. That's for the classes.
Boy,
you gotta really want this. You gotta be like, this is fun. This is like
1,385 skill points.
That's too many.
See, my problem is
you thought that Assassin's Creed. What was the name of the Viking one?
This is for stat nerds. This is for stat crunching, spreadsheet tallying. 8 hours of spending time on Reddit, conversing with friends, debating the facts and the numbers and the math.
Like if you thought Assassin's Creed Valhalla had too many skills.
Oh my god!
I want to do all the skills. I don't like seeing nodes that I can never access or knowing that I'm limited. And for me you can't do that whole tree. I mean, it's insane.
Whew. Wow. Good for Path of Exile fans.
Oh yeah,
I hope
they're
you
going to be eating well.
And it's coming out December 6th, which means it's ineligible to be Game of the Year. Actually, it's actually the early access version, so it wouldn't be eligible anyway. I think. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just play by the seat of my pants and I just pick skills because they look great.
Yeah, that just feels like what you can't really do in a way. You have to plan stuff with that if you want to get really good at that game.
Here's the thing. I have this thing in which there should be no bad builds. Whatever build you make in a game, you should be able to beat it with that. That's what happened with Deus Ex Human Revolution. if you chose speech and stealth, well, you're going to be fucked by the first boss.
I agree with that. A good game should be balanced for all the builds.
Well, it shouldn't be balanced. It should be that you can succeed with the build that you
Because
make.
I've seen posts like when Sea of Stars came out, people would come onto the Discord and ask, what should my build be? I don't want to get screwed over. And I'm like, what game hurt you this bad?
Oh, there's a lot of games that are like that. Yeah, there's a lot of games that you can have the wrong build for. Like I said, Deus Ex Human Revolution, they had to patch that thing. And surprise, surprise, they outsourced the boss battles in that game. Why? I have no idea. I guess time, but seriously. Anyways, Path of Exiles, if you want Diablo 2 on crack.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, people have wanted this game for a long time, so I'm sure it's exciting as hell.
Yeah, now all that's left is Silksong and Grand Theft Auto 6. I swear, people looking for Silksong, I hope Silksong never comes out just so that they can be 80-year-old men saying, "Where's Silksong?"
There's this legend, this myth.
They found out that the studio abandoned it 50 years ago. But hey, Duke Nukem Forever came out, so anything's possible. Anyways, look for our show notes to give me what?
I was just saying why, because now like I realized that was Path of Exile 1, so I went to go look at what Path of Exile 2 skill tree is looking like. Guys, it's even bigger.
Good Lord.
Here, let me share this really quick before we close it out, just so you can have a look at the difference between these two. They made it even more.
I can probably imagine. Oh yeah, I see it. Oh god. Yeah, I see it here. I found it.
If you just put some blue and black and
it looks like it looks like a constellation chart.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You if you put some blue and black and white behind it and took out the artistic graphics, you could tell somebody that this is a picture of a galaxy.
Yeah,
it's like those are all the constellations there.
Yeah, definitely. Like you would have to plan this out because, like, if you want certain skills and abilities in certain ways to play, you got to find where they are and how you get to them and what's the best way. Because then you might find yourself in part of the tree that's not good, and you have to go respec. You know. Oh my gosh.
And at the late game, you know that like bosses are going to be like knocking you around, so you're going to have to like pull one point out of one thing and put it into another of these billions of things.
Yeah. Oh,
this makes Eve Online look uncomplicated. But there's going to be people who are just who are really into this because I mean, micromanaging is what's it called? Is a point for some people. People love to plan out to the nearest percentage. Meanwhile, Middle Earth, Shadow of Games, which you haven't played, every single skill that's there is useful and unique and does something. I got to tell you that the game was released in 2018 and it still holds up perfectly as an action game, which is hard to do. So, anyways, I'm pretty sure everybody will just be depressed if they look at the skill tree. So go look at the skill trees and depress yourself. Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. If you enjoy our feedbacks, leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at our Facebook page. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave some iTunes comments. You can find me at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Chart.
You almost said your Twitter name.
Yeah.
Is it just Shard?
I think it's Shard the Sage.
Okay. Anyways, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun. Be cool. Play games, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, end stream. There's no out.